Bibliophiles of the internet, my name's Adriana. Today is Manga Monday and it's all about BOKU NO HERO ACADEMia or My Hero Academia by Horikoshi Kohei. This is an action-packed shonen series that takes place in a world where becoming a superhero has become a legitimate profession because somehow superpowers or quirks have become commonplace. Our story follows a young boy named Midoriya who has absolutely no chance of developing his quirk at his age, and in fact his doctor has pretty much ruled it a medical impossibility, but of course the only thing he wants to do is become a legendary superhero because saving people is how he wants to spend his life. One day he has a chance encounter with his idol All Might, who sees that Midoriya has absolutely nothing to go off of besides his raw determination and stalwart heart, but he sees something in Midoriya and decides to pass on his legendary quirk one for all to this boy. From there, Midoriya actually stands a chance of getting into his dream school UA, a very prestigious exclusive high school with the absolute best superhero course, and he finally starts to work alongside the next generation of heroes. Before I get into my thoughts, I just want to say I've read the first 3 volumes in this manga series and I have watched and loved both seasons of the anime, so I will be talking very generally about the series. There are plenty of manga series where the main characters are highly skilled or display incredible levels of raw talent right from the get-go, but I like that BOKU NO HERO Academia has a main character who is fairly unremarkable for the most part. Midoriya does compensate for his quirklessness with his knowledge as a fanboy, which sort of becomes its own kind of power, but he really has nothing else to show for his efforts. I'm drawn to his fiery determination and how, despite the fact that no one in his life supports him, he keeps moving forward and refuses to stop. I mean, in the very first chapter of this series, this guy is so set on taking the entrance exam for this exclusive hero school when he has absolutely no quirk to speak of, just because there's nothing that says that he can't. Who does that? In a world full of supernatural, extraordinary powers, this is a very real, very human attribute. Midoriya has a clear dream and he tells himself he's going to make it happen no matter what, but he never stops himself to think, wait, how exactly am I going to make this work? Obviously, he runs into a stroke of luck with All Might and One for All, but I still really respond to how Midoriya's experience, or lack thereof, stacks up against the experiences of his classmates. At UA, there are extraordinary kids who have spent their entire lives refining their quirks and evolving with their powers as they've grown. They can control their quirks and they know exactly how they want to grow in this program. Many of them have always known they're good enough. Midoriya doesn't have that. He's pretty much just taking everything in. He's a clean slate, and I think that's what makes his journey so dynamic. He's throwing himself full force into trial and error, just trying to figure out how everything works in the midst of very intense, very high stakes situations. And I don't know, I like that dynamic where all the other characters are up on their bullshit while the protagonist has absolutely no idea what to do. Because of that disconnect of sorts, it's that much more satisfying to see Midoriya forming those relationships with his mentors and peers, to see him finally filling that void, closing the gap, and really coming into his own as a hero. I also like that the story acknowledges differences in growth based on personal ability. We see students coming in at a very high level who really have to put in that much more work to get to that next level versus someone like Midoriya who's just soaking in everything like a sponge and really growing by leaps and bounds. When the students compare themselves to each other like Bakugo often does, it can be very discouraging and it can negatively impact their own growth. So again, it's a really engaging dynamic where you can pick out individual success, individual struggle, individual storylines, but you're still invested in the entire class as a unit. Another thing I find really fascinating is that in this world where superpowers are disseminated so widely and randomly in a way that is truly unique to every single person, where anyone anywhere could end up with any kind of power, the choice to be good or evil or to even use your quirk at all is a very compelling choice. This series has some incredibly powerful characters who not only have personalities that don't necessarily lend themselves to public service, but who also have powers that are either extremely destructive or extremely specific. So their choice to commit themselves to the hero track is something that makes me want to keep reading and learning about them, because this series explores the psychology of what it means to be a hero very well. So that was just me piecing together some thoughts about why BOKU NO HERO Academia makes me feel all the things. Of course, I highly recommend it. If you are also a fan, please hit me up in the comments below because I would love to talk more about this series and hear your thoughts. But that is everything I have for this Manga Monday today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and I will catch you on the flip side of the page. Bye!